It's hot and sticky in Boston as the Red Sox get ready to open up the second half of the season. And it's game one of a three-game series between the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. Hi again, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, and welcome to Red Sox Baseball. Well, to begin spring training, most expected the Red Sox perhaps to be around the 500 mark or to have a good season. I don't think there's anybody out there that expected to see the Red Sox with a terrific first half and be atop the American League East to start the second half. The Red Sox are 58-39. That's the best record in the American League. Had some great milestones along the way as well. Jacoby Ellsbury had an AL longest 19-game hitting streak, in which he hit .413. Sox have also had 5 pinch-hit home runs in the first half and 8 walk-off wins. David Ortiz became the major's all-time leader in hits for DH with 1,691, as the Red Sox certainly have impressed in the first half. We welcome in Jerry Remy. And Jerry, that's all well and good, but certainly a lot of business to be taken care of in the second half.
Well, there is. You know, the first half's for positioning. Get yourself in a good position. The second half is for that ring and the money, and that's what they're playing for now. And the Red Sox are in great shape, as you mentioned, Don. 2.5 games in first place. Now, Tampa Bay has been playing great baseball recently, and they are very, very dangerous. They're going to be here in this homestand. You know Baltimore's going to be there. They're only 4.5 back. The Yankees, amazing to me, with all the injuries that they've had, they've done it with pitching and with defense, and not the Bronx Bombers anymore. And Toronto, do they have another run or two in them? I'm not so sure about that. They're an 11.5 back. They had a great run early in the season, then they've dropped back. So it's going to be a very exciting second half of the season here in the American League East. There's no question about that.
After a very long West Coast trip and the All-Star break, the Red Sox are very happy to be back home as they get ready for the second half of the season and the beginning of this Red Sox-Yankees rivalry. We're back with more after this. Between the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. Welcome back inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo. Well, a terrific first half for the Red Sox. One of only 2 teams in the major leagues to have been above 500 all year long, the Red Sox and the Atlanta Braves. So it's on to the second half we go. But first, with a look back, here's Jenny Dell.
Well, Don, you're right. It has been an incredible first half of the season. With 58 wins, the Red Sox top the American League. Coming into the second half of the season, it's going to be a tough stretch. The next 10 games facing the AL East competition. So, for our AT&T Twitter question of the night, we'd like to ask our fans at home, what are you looking forward to the most in the second half of the season as it gets underway? Send us your tweets using the hashtag SoxSecondHalf, and we'll reveal the best ones later in the game.
All right, Jenny, thanks very much. Well, tonight it is Felix Dubron on the mound for the Red Sox, getting his 17th start of the year. He's 6-3 with a 3.91 earned run average. Red Sox and Yankees coming your way next. By Benjamin Moore. Reebok Spartan Race run at Fenway on November the 16th. Salem 5 Bank in Pedroia's World. Digital Federal Credit Union, bank the DCU way. Infinity. Kia of New England. And by Southwest Airlines. Well, good evening and welcome back to Fenway Park as we get ready for Game 1 of the 3-game series between the Red Sox and the New York Yankees. A jam-packed Fenway Park on a very sticky night tonight in Boston as the Red Sox return home after a very lengthy and productive long West Coast road trip. The Red Sox, of course, with the All-Star break of 4 days for some of the Red Sox, and John Farrell's crew returning here to Fenway Park to begin the second half. And Jerry will start, I guess, with the talk today that really was quite a surprise about Andrew Bailey and the fact that he may be lost for the rest of the year. That was stunning.
Yeah, Don, very disappointing news for the Red Sox, obviously, to have Bailey be hurt and not knowing what the outcome of this is going to be. There may be some rehab involved. There may be surgery involved. We just don't know at this point, but it's a shame because Bailey was really starting to pitch well again. He was pitching like a closer for the Boston Red Sox, and of course, if they needed that, he would be able to go back into that role. But that is devastating news, in my opinion, for the bullpen. And now we'll see how some of these guys react that are going to be called up for Pawtucket to try to take his place and what it means long term for the Red Sox. But not the best news coming off the All-Star break.
Yeah, and you think about all the changes that the bullpen has already undergone. It's been a new player every day, and now they really have to dig into some depth, and that may include signing some other guys, which the Red Sox have now done, sending to Pawtucket.
They have. There's a couple of guys like Lyons and Contreras signing minor league contracts going down to Pawtucket. Both guys with a lot of major league experience. You know, how soon will those guys be with the Red Sox? Will they ever be with the Red Sox? We don't know that. The other thing is Clay Buchholz. They've got to get Clay Buchholz back on the mound here in the second half of the season, pitching somewhere close to what he did in the first half. He can't pitch better than what he did in the first half, but somewhere close to what he did in the first half, and that right now is a question mark also. But the Red Sox begin the second half of the season with a 2.5-game lead, and what better shape to be in to start the second half?
Well, the Yankees are here tonight to begin the second half, and really it is remarkable what they've been able to do, Jerry, with the guys that they have on their team right now.
It is, and you know, when you look at the Yankees, you always expect this big potent offense, and that really hasn't been the case. You know, they're down near the bottom of the league in most offensive categories because of all the injuries they have. It really has been their pitching and their defense that has kept them within striking distance at 6 games back of Boston right now. So this is a very, very important weekend for the New York Yankees.
Well, Joe Girardi has done a terrific job for New York as the Red Sox take the field tonight. Let's check out the Yankees lineup tonight. Brett Gardner's at the top of that order and in center field. Ichiro Suzuki in right field batting second. Robinson Cano at second base bats third with Vernon Wells, the DH, in the cleanup spot. Zoilo Almonte is in left field with Lyle Overbay at first base. Brent Lillibridge, a former Red Sox infielder, outfielder at third base. Eduardo Nunez at shortstop bats eighth. And Chris Stewart as the catching, he bats ninth. Lyle Overbay has been hot prior to the break in the last 10 games, hitting at .400 coming into this series against the Red Sox. And on the mound tonight for the Red Sox, as FW Webb brings you the Red Sox starting pitching, it's Felix Doubront. His 18th appearance, 17th start of the year, comes in at 6-3 with a 3.91 earned run average in 99 innings. Has 93 strikeouts. Opponent sitting at 257 against Doubront.
Well, the Red Sox defense is 7th in the American League. They've made 51 errors on the season. Brandon Snyder will be at third base. Jose Iglesias, the shortstop. Dustin Pedroia at second, and Mike Napoli, the first baseman. Left to right, Johnny Gomes, Jacoby Ellsbury, and Shane Victorino, and Jared Saltalamacchia doing the catching for Doubront.
Well, the umpiring crew, Mike Everett has the play calling the balls and strikes. Crew chief Tim Welke at first base with Paul Emmel umpire at second, and Dan Bellino is the umpire at third. Tonight's game is available in Spanish by pushing the SAP button on your television remote. Enjoy the game.
Buenas noches, amigos.
Well, it is on the hot side here. 95 degrees to begin the ball game tonight. Feels like 100 or more. Wind direction is out at 22 miles per hour. And the forecast is for more of the same, hot and sticky here tonight at Fenway. Also seems strange not to have Derek Jeter, the captain for the New York Yankees, with the Yankees. And, of course, has only played in one game. And upon his return, ends up re-injuring himself and is back on the disabled list again for New York. And it has been a very disappointing season for him trying to get back. They are expected to get Alex Rodriguez back perhaps on Monday. But it has been a real test of the year for Joe Girardi and his coaching staff, who have done a terrific job to keep the Yankees in the conversation. They're 6 games back, and in his 6th season with the Yankees, certainly the toughest one he has had from a challenge standpoint. But they have managed to hang around, and certainly the beginning of this second half is very big for the New York Yankees. And it is Brett Gardner who leads it off here for New York. As Felix Doubront finished off the first half of the year very well. Trying to keep that going here in the second half. Red Sox in their alternate red jerseys. And here we go. First pitch of the ball game from Felix Doubront. And that is in there for strike one, and we are underway.
On that last time out for Dubron against Seattle, as we look at Brett Gardner's numbers, he had a good curveball in that game, and that certainly helped him pitch a very good ball game against the M's.
Dubron against New York in his career is 2-1 with a nifty 2.52 earned run average. This is the 10th game he's appeared against the Yankees. 5 starts coming since the beginning of 2012, and again that 2.32 ERA. 0-2 is a squibber down the third base side, and Snyder on the run, barehanded, just gets the speedy Gardner. Nice play by Brandon Snyder.
Yeah, Snyder has not had a lot of playing time recently. It's been mostly Brock Holt that's been at third base because the Red Sox been facing a lot of right-handed pitching. Nice barehanded play, the off-balance throw, and in time to get a very speedy Gardner at first base. And by the way, that was the curveball right there for Felix Dubron to pick up first out of the ball game.
One down for Ichiro Suzuki. It's out of the 2 spot at 283. 6 homers and 25 runs batted in. One of the guys that has kept the Yankees in the mix is in there for strike 1. Ichiro in Sunday's loss against the Minnesota Twins played in his 2000th career Major League game. His first year was 2001 with the Seattle Mariners. And then a terrific beginning to the month of July prior to the All-Star break at 353. On the ground to the shortstop. Iglesias gets it there in time. 2 down. Ever find yourself guessing what you think is going to happen during every at bat? Well, there's an app for that. MLB Pre-Play is the official prediction game of Major League Baseball, and it's free to download on iOS and Android. Download now at NESN.com/prepay and play along during every Red Sox game. 2 down here in the top half of the first inning. Robinson Cano, the batter. 302, 21 home runs and 65 runs batted in. Cano, of course, hit in the knee in his first and only at bat of the All-Star game. Had to leave, and Dustin Pedroia took over, but he is okay, obviously, and back in the lineup tonight for New York. But kind of a scary moment for Yankees fans.
Yeah, right now Cano on a 9-game hitting streak. He is 1 for 14 in his career against Felix Dubron.
They get hit by Mets pitcher and starter Matt Harvey in the first inning. Removed from the game. That is zipped inside. It's 1-1. Jerry mentioned the hitting streak. He's hit at 414 during the 9-gamer. He's reached the 20 home run plateau for the 5th straight season. This one grounded down by the tarp area makes it 1-2.
Don, this is Texas hot tonight.
Yes, it is. Cano, full on the pitch, strikes out. A good start for Felix Dubron. The Red Sox coming up. Well, happy 9th birthday to Kaya Martin, enjoying the ball game tonight. As the Red Sox come to bat here in the bottom of the first inning. The Red Sox batting order is brought to you by New England Chevy Dealers. Jacoby Ellsbury leading it off in center field with Shane Victorino in right. Dustin Pedroia at second base. David Ortiz at DH with Mike Napoli at first base. Johnny Gomes in left field bats sixth. Jared Saltalamacchia doing the catching with Brandon Snyder at third base. Already chipped in with a good defensive play. And Jose Iglesias at shortstop bats ninth. On the mound tonight for the Yankees is Andy Pettitte, and he is ready to work to Jacoby Ellsbury. Ellsbury will take a look at ball one away. Now Pettitte coming in with a 7-6 record, his 17th start of the year, a 4.39 earned run average. This is in the air to right field, hit well by Jacoby Ellsbury. That's going to ride right out of here. Into the bleachers. Jacoby Ellsbury puts the Sox on top 1-0.
Well, before the All-Star break, Jacoby had 3 home runs. Number 4, and no question about this, off Andy Pettitte. What a great way for the Red Sox to start. A fastball right down the middle, and Ellsbury pulling it out toward that Yankee bullpen. Up and over the bullpen by about 7 rows.
So the Sox with a fast start on top 1-0. As Shane Victorino takes a look at ball one. 4th home run of the year for Ellsbury. The Sox have now hit 99 home runs this season. S&S Express donated another $500 to the pediatric trauma program at Boston Children's Hospital. Brings the season total of $49,500. S&S Express committed to helping the cause.
Look where Lyle Overbay is playing Victorino. I mean, he's is tighter than any first baseman we've ever seen against Victorino. In on the grass and off the bag by quite a distance.
The 4 days doing a lot of the Red Sox good, but certainly Shane Victorino, who was beat up from time to time in the first half. Loops one to shallow right. Ichiro has got it sized up and puts it away for the first out here in the bottom of the first inning.
Well, let's look at the Yankee defense. They are third, only 39 errors on the season. Brent Lillibridge at third base, Eduardo Nunez the shortstop, Robinson Cano at second, and Lyle Overbay at first. Left to right, Almonte, Gardner, and Ichiro, and Chris Stewart doing the catching for Andy Pettitte.
1-0 Boston, 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning for Dustin Pedroia. .316 average, 6 homers and 56 runs batted in. One of the 3 representatives of the Red Sox to go to Citi Field in New York for the All-Star game. Pedroia named an All-Star for the 4th time in his career. 0 for 2 in the All-Star game, and there's another. David Ortiz. This one fouled back, and it's 1-2.
Well, I did my best to watch our Red Sox represent the All-Star game, and also that moment for Mariano Rivera. I thought that was great.
It really was, and really his moment, his time to shine, and it's been an incredible career. Red Sox would rather not see him in this series, but here's a 1-2 that is fouled off and hangs at 1-2. Pedroia wrapping up the first half of the year in fine fashion, hitting at .358 in his last 20 games. This is the 97th game of 98 possible games that he could play in this season, tied for first in the majors. Yes, he'll send this one foul.
You look at Andy Pettitte. He has faced the Red Sox 40 career times, 38 starts, has a 19-10 record against Boston Red Sox teams over the years.
That's a large enough sample size to say the least for Andy Pettitte. 252 career wins. That'll miss down and in. And it is 2-2 now to Pedroia. Back on June 3rd, made his 500th career start. That was against the Cleveland Indians. Well, Pedroia stays alive. We'll see an 8th pitch in this at bat. It's the only pitcher drafted by the New York Yankees to win 200 games in the majors. Outside for ball 3, full count. David Ortiz waiting on deck as the Red Sox bat here in the bottom of the 1st inning. Another foul ball. Let's see a 10th pitch. Pedroia and the Red Sox glad to be home again. Dustin is 2nd in the American League in home batting average. It's at .374 here at Fenway Park. And he lines this to 3rd, caught by Lillibridge. Then it ends up winning the battle as he gets Pedroia on the 10th pitch of the at-bat, 2 down.
Eduardo Nunez wanted to run off the field. He thought there were 3 outs in the inning. And this is not a 2-out league. It's a 3-out league. The last I checked. You can see that Lillibridge wanted to throw it to Nunez, and Nunez was running off the field. Hey, guys get 4 days off. Sometimes you forget.
2 down here in the 1st inning for David Ortiz. 317, 19 homers, and 65 runs batted in. All-star for the 4th straight year, 9th time in his career. So for 2 in the game as the starting DH. Ortiz grounds it foul as he breaks his bat. Now, for every Red Sox game that goes into extra innings or the Sox get a save, CVS Pharmacy will make a donation to Boston Children's Hospital towards their $25,000 donation this season.
The Yankees do not have the complete shift on Ortiz, but they do have Cano very deep at 2nd base.
Strike 3 call over the inside corner. Ortiz doesn't like it. Red Sox get a run on the home run by Ellsbury. Jacoby Ellsbury the home run. Wendy's, now that's better. Tonight recognizes Sox center fielder Jacoby Ellsbury. In his last 22 games, Ellsbury has batted .387, thanks in part to 19-game hitting streak that ended last Friday night in Oakland. He bounced back from that, recorded a 3-hit game on Sunday against the A's, the final game before the All-Star break. So Ellsbury getting the Red Sox off to a good start here in the second half, and first pitch here, the second inning to Vernon Wells is outside. Wells hitting at .238 with 10 homers and 36 runs batted in. Popped up foul off to the right, and it evens at 1-1.
That Red Sox infield on the left side really pinching Vernon Wells. Both Iglesias and Snyder very close together on that left side. A lot of room up the middle for Vernon Wells.
Braun enjoyed a 1-2-3 first inning on 10 pitches, 2 groundouts and a strikeout. That'll skip in for ball 3. Braun was very good prior to the break, winning his last 2 starts in a row, beating the Angels at Los Angeles and beating the Mariners at Seattle. And in that last outing against the Mariners, went 7 innings, giving up just 1 run through 107 pitches in that outing. Elevates, and Wells with a swing and a miss. Full count now.
Fastball up, maybe out of the zone to Vernon Wells that time. Just about let her high and no contact.
Wells now, Almonte next. Ball 40, loses him away. First base runner for the Yankees comes in a walk for Vernon Wells. So we check in with Jenny Dell.
Well, Don, one of the most impressive parts of the Red Sox so far this season has been the depth of the organization. They've had 16 players with different stints on the disabled list and 42 players on the active roster. And manager John Farrell has said, you know, we've really been able to tap into a very talented group of players. And despite all of those changes, the Sox have scored more runs than any team in baseball. And Don, I think Johnny Gomes said it best when he said, I think we have a couple identities, which is important.
Well, it has been amazing in the first half. And Jerry, you know, one of the things we were looking at to begin the year was, where's the offense going to come from? Are they going to be able to score enough runs? Boy, they have in a big way.
It's come from all through the lineup, really, when you think about it. You know, the Stars have done what they are supposed to do, guys like Dustin Pedroia and David Ortiz, but you've got tremendous contributions from people that you didn't expect. Iglesias, for example. A lot of guys have done big things offensively. Comeback wins, clutch hitting, walk-off home runs.
Things that really were not present last year. You think about the number of walk-off wins, and Johnny Gomes has been a part of a few of those. The Red Sox have 8 walk-off wins on the year, 5 pinch-hit home runs. Gomes has 3 of them. The 1-0 is on the ground, could be 2. Iglesias to second for 1. On to first, it is 2. Able to hold the bag at first was Napoli on the 6-4-3 twin killing.
I'll tell you, it'd be tough, you know, when you look around baseball right now, Don, and you look at Iglesias and Pedroia, as far as hands are concerned, I can't think of another combination that has as good or better hands than Iglesias and Pedroia together. Nice little big high bounce for Iglesias, makes it easy for him to flip to Pedroia, and they complete the double play.
You think about up the middle altogether between Iglesias, Pedroia, and Ellsbury in center field. Important to be good up the middle, and the Red Sox are very good.
Save a lot of runs.
2 down for Lyle Overbay. He'll swing at the first pitch. To Hopper, bounding out to Pedroia, ends the inning. Inning and a half done. Sox on top 1-0.
Cold hard facts as we enjoy the Sox resurgence from a year ago. Sox with a .598 win percentage. 172 better than last year. That is the biggest turnaround in Major League Baseball, positive or negative. That certainly has been a positive for the Red Sox in 2013 as Napoli with a big swing and a miss for strike one. Mike hitting at .259, 11 home runs and 58 runs batted in. Well, Napoli will be followed by Gomes and Saltalamacchia in the inning. They'll pick up the outside corner for strike two.
Once again, we look at Lyle Overbay down at first base. I mean, he really takes away that 3-4 hole, doesn't he? Look how far he is off that first base bag.
Pettit that time elevating for ball two. Full count now as Pettit had to throw 19 first inning pitches after Jacoby Ellsbury homered to lead off the first inning. It was the 9th career leadoff home run for Ellsbury, the 2nd this season. And that is ball four. Leadoff walk for Napoli to start the 2nd inning. So lead runner on here for the Red Sox. Well, it was a hot night here at Fenway. Jerry, what do you think?
It's no problem with me. It's up to you, Don. You're the boss of the booth.
We have plenty of room in the back of the booth.
Yeah, we've got a little AC going up here. We've got fans going up here. It's a little bit cooler than down there, that's for sure.
And there comes Johnny Gomes with Napoli at first base. Gomes with a .236 first half, 6 homers and 22 runs batted in. He's hit safely in his last 8 games that he has started. And we'll look back at home plate umpire Mike Everett. He had been ejected from Sunday's game at Oakland following his 9th inning strikeout. His 3rd career ejection as he looks at strike two.
Johnny Gomes, a .320 career hitter against Andy Pettit with a home run.
And prior to the break, one of the warmer Red Sox hitting at .344 in the last 10 games. And a grounder foul into the seats. Gulf Oil is proud to be the official electricity provider of the Boston Red Sox. Napoli extending the lead at first base, held on by Lyle Overbay. Here's an 0-2 pitch. Gomes will foul it off to the right.
I think we've got to give a lot of credit to the grounds crew. The outfield in very good shape, considering the fact that while the Red Sox were on the road, they had 3 concerts at this ballpark.
One by Paul McCartney, 2 by Jason Aldean, right? And they did a terrific job of getting the field back together again here for this series and the homestand. 0-2 is going to miss down and in. Now Pettit in July, a 50-27 record over the course of his career. 4.06 earned run average in July, and lately he is 4-6 in his last 13 starts.
And always has had one of the better pickoff moves in baseball. I mean, it's so difficult to pick up that you have to guess against Andy Pettit. As soon as he moves, you go, and a lot of times he's slow to first base and you beat it at second base. But the fact is, he has got one great pickoff move.
So a tough time holding on to the lead lately. He surrendered the lead in 6 of his last 10 outings. Also a 21-game winner in 1996, leading the American League in wins. For the second to Pat Henkin that year for the Cy Young Award voting. High drive, deep left field off the bat of Johnny Gomes, and the Red Sox take a 3-0 lead. Gomes with his 7th home run of the year puts the Sox on top 3-0. Second home run relinquished by Andy Pettitte tonight.
Well, the first one to Jacoby Ellsbury was on a fastball. This time it was a changeup from Andy Pettitte. And Gomes picks up number 7 on the season. Changeup supposed to be down and away. It stays out over the plate, and Gomes into the monster seats.
There is Saltalamacchia. It takes a pitch for strike 1. The Sox have now gone deep 100 times in 2013. With it, S&S Express donate 500 more to the pediatric trauma program at Boston Children's Hospital, bringing the season total to 50,000. S&S Express committed to helping the cause. Saltalamacchia lays off ball 2. Well, for Pettitte, that is home runs 10 and 11 given up on the season for the Yankees left-hander. This is line foul.
That's another changeup right there that Saltalamacchia is out in front of. That ball a little bit lower than the one that Gomes hit for the home run. Once again, you can see Stewart wants it away, but it stays middle of the plate, and Saltalamacchia out in front of it.
Inside for ball 3. A deep count here for Andy Pettitte. Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach for the Yankees, looking on as Pettitte has relinquished his second home run of the game, and that was followed up after the leadoff walk by Mike Napoli started the second inning. Tap foul, and this at bat will extend to an 8th pitch. Salty has caught 55 of the team's last 70 games. And a swing and a miss. Pettitte finally gets him. Second strikeout for Andy Pettitte. 1 down. On Saturday, August the 10th and Sunday, August the 11th, Grammy-winning artists Justin Timberlake and Jay-Z will take the stage at Fenway as part of their Legends of the Summer Tour. The tour has just kicked off with rave reviews, and there are limited tickets still available for both nights. For tickets, you can go to etix.com or call 1-800-514-3849. One out here in the second inning is Brandon Snyder. So it's a .250 average with a home run, 6 runs batted in. Came off the bench primarily in the last week of the season, with Brock Holt getting 6 starts in a row down at third base. The Sox facing a lot of right-handed pitchers, but with the lefty on the mound tonight, it's Snyder. Finds his way back in the Red Sox starting lineup.
Hey, right down that West Coast trip, the Red Sox sure saw a lot of right-handers on that trip, and that meant Brock Holt, who did a fabulous job on that trip, both defensively and offensively, got a lot of playing time.
Line to the shortstop, Eduardo Nunez, for out number 2. So Snyder retired, and that'll take us to Jose Iglesias. It's cooled off lately. You sort of expected it, hitting better than 400 for most of the season. He's down to 367 with a home run and 16 runs batted in. It's all American League rookies in average, on base percentage, and slugging percentage. Named the AL Rookie of the Month for the month of June. And a grounder up over the mound. Nunez on the move around the bag at second, gets rid of it and retires Jose Iglesias. A 2-run shot for Johnny Gomes as the Red Sox on top 3-0. Sox ice cream. Get your favorites in the freezer aisle today. Always good, always hood. Very nice to be enjoying ice cream here from Fenway Park as we head into the third inning with the Red Sox on top 3-0. A couple of home runs in this one. A solo shot by Ellsbury and a 2-run shot by Johnny Gomes more recently. The former Red Sox outfielder Brent Lillibridge came to the Red Sox from the White Sox in the Kevin Youkilis deal, and now he is filling in for Kevin Youkilis at third base for the Yankees. And spent 9 games with the Cubs this season, 1 for 24 in his time in the majors this year. Flares one foul, and the count evens at 1-1. Lillibridge selected the Yankees 25-man roster from AAA Scranton prior to the game tonight. In 23 games in Scranton, he was sitting at .341. He had been acquired by the Yankees from the Cubs on June 21st for a player to be named later. He'll drop in there for strike 2.
There's that curveball again from Duprat, but a slower version of it that time to Lillibridge. And as I mentioned, that's a pitch he had working for him very well last time out against the Seattle Mariners.
Jerry, over the last 3 weeks to a month, Felix Dubron has really pitched very well.
Felix Dubron and John Lackey. Where would the Red Sox be without either one of those guys over this stretch?
You think of the work done by John Lester. Started so well with 6-0 to begin the year, but it's kind of been up and down since then. And of course, the complete absence of Clay Buchholz.
Actually, I thought John Lester in his last 2 starts actually pitched well.
1-2 pitch is in there for strike 3. Lillibridge strikes out looking. Second K for DeBron.
That takes a fastball pretty much right down the middle. Does Lillibridge. That last whiff was brought to you by Head and Shoulders.
So Lillibridge strikes out. Second K for DeBron. Here's Eduardo Nunez. Nunez, the shortstop, totes a .215 average. No homers and 8 runs batted in. He will pop it up. Foul ground. Napoli steps into it. And now back into fair ground to make the catch. 2 down. Well, it's Sunday's all-new Ultimate Red Sox show presented by AAA. Jenny comes to you from the inaugural Buchholz Bowl at Lucky Strikes Lanes. The top 5 Red Sox walk-off wins are also highlighted, plus another lesson from the Red Sox Academy. Catch all that and more on the Ultimate Red Sox show Sunday at noon. 2 outs in the top half of the 3rd inning. Chris Stewart, the batter. Stewart last year hit at .241 for the Yankees for the whole season. He's hitting at .241 coming into tonight's game this season. And bats out of the number 9 spot for Joe Girardi.
He's done a tremendous job throwing out base runners this year. 40% he has thrown out.
Now to right center field in the air and falling fast, but coming from right is Victorino to make the running grab that ends the inning. Jacoby Ellsbury will lead it off when we come back to Fenway. This is in the air to right field. Hit well by Jacoby Ellsbury. And that's going to ride right out of here. Into the bleachers. Jacoby Ellsbury puts the Sox on top 1-0. Red Sox add on to that with a 2-run home run by Johnny Gomes. And it is 3-0 Sox. A good start for Ellsbury and the Red Sox as we head to the home half of the 3rd inning. Ellsbury, Victorino, and Pedroia expected in the inning. Ellsbury takes a look at ball 1. The home run for Jacoby is 4th of the year. He'll line this into center field. He's 2 for 2.
They go through this Red Sox lineup, and there are a lot of guys that have very good numbers against Andy Pettitte. Jacoby Ellsbury, one of those guys. 333 coming into the game, a home run, and now a base hit up the middle on what looked to be a slider from Andy Pettitte.
Ellsbury leading it off with a single, and here's Shane Victorino, his second look at Pettitte tonight. Victorino flying out to right field at Ichiro in the first inning. Set safely in 16 of his last 20 games and hit at .317. That's a strike, 1-1.
One of the options you have if a guy has trouble picking up a move of a pitcher, and a lot of guys do with Andy Pettitte, the other option may be a hit and run.
There's strike 2. That time he picked up the inside corner.
You can forget about the hit and run right now with 2 strikes on Victorino.
Chop towards second base. Cano try to start it. The second for 1 on to first. It's 2. And then it goes 4-6 to 3. 2 down in the inning. Grounding ball hit to the second baseman, Cano.
Well, that's the way the middle infielders like it. As they're heading toward the bag to get the ground ball, it just makes the nice easy flip to whoever may be covering, and an easy double play. Cano going in that direction, just has to feed it up around the letters to the shortstop, and Nunez able to make that throw to first base to get Victorino and the double play.
2 down here in the third inning. It brings up Dustin Pedroia. Dustin in a 10-pitch at bat in the first inning ended up lining out to the third baseman, Brent Lillibridge. Top of the strike zone and a high strike call. Line this foul over by the Yankees dugout. It's 1-2. Advil is the official pain reliever of the Boston Red Sox and proud supporter of Volunteers. Go to Advil.com to find out about the Advil Relief in Action campaign. Popped up down the first baseline as Overbay steps into the first base coach's box and out of it to make the catch that ends the inning. We have played 3 from Fenway. It's 3-0 Red Sox. Jack Roush will be with us when we come back. Others first. Wouldn't it be nice if your bank did the same thing? With products that make life easier and a commitment to helping those in need. Here, your first Eastern Bank. Well, it's 3-0. Red Sox have the lead over the Yankees as we head into the fourth inning. And the new right fielder for the Red Sox, Daniel Nava, checks in after Shane Victorino came up lame, running to first base on the back end of the double play. You see him kind of pull it up again, and apparently more problems for him leg-wise. He's been battling the hamstring problem and really slowed it up there, and comes out of the game, went into the clubhouse. So not a good sign there.
No, especially after having 4 days rest for the All-Star game.
Top of the Yankees order, Brett Gardner to read it off here in the fourth inning. Gardner bunting at it, fouls it off. He grounded out to Brandon Snyder at third base in the first inning. 5 ground ball outs in the first 3 innings for Felix Dubron. Then on the grass at third base is Snyder in case Gardner tries to bunt. Always a threat to do so, as that'll bounce him for ball 2. Ichiro on deck. Yankees batting here in the top half of the fourth inning. Here's a strike, 2-2.
And a pretty nasty one at that. Fastball on the outside part of the plate. The only thing Gardner could do with that, if he swings at it, is slap it to the opposite field. Pit Zone on NESN is brought to you by Amica. Amica Insurance. Great service, great coverage, and a great price for auto, home, or life insurance.
Well, Gardner has powered up lately. 7 home runs, has tied his single season career high. That's 7 home runs in 2011, and this year 7 home runs in the first half of the season. Well, struggling lately as he is 5 for his last 30. A very late protective swing, and that one goes into the Yankees dugout.
Fastball that time at 91 miles an hour, in tight to Gardner, and just a very protective swing to give himself another chance.
Inside out swing, sent foul to the left, and we'll do it again. 3-2. All kinds of injuries last year for the Yankees. Had a right elbow strain and arthroscopic elbow surgery in July 24th, and missed 142 team games. This one is line foul. Nice catch.
I like that too. He really didn't make a big deal about it. He just held it up. I got it with the one hand.
Yep. Act like you've been there before.
Exactly. Been in the end zone before, right?
Inside, and that's ball 4. That's the second leadoff walk allowed by Dubron. Well, Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center is the official hospital of the Boston Red Sox. Invites you to join the walking club. Sign up today and get a cool wristband. Plus everything you need to start a walking program for better health. Find out more at bidmc.org. Lead runner on here for New York for the second time in the game. Dubron quickly erased that leadoff walk in the second inning by getting Almonte to ground into a 6-4-3 double play. And now it's Ichiro's chance here in the fourth inning. And he'll ground one to first, but foul.
Gardner at first base has 13 steals on the season. He has been caught 6 times.
That's a strike with Ichiro on the move out of the box. 0-2. Well, last year, Ichiro, who has always hit up over 300 in his career, finished the year hitting at 283. His combined numbers between the Seattle Mariners and the Yankees. Played in all 162 games. Have been traded to the Yankees on July the 23rd, a week before the trade deadline. For the first and back to the bag is Gardner. Amazing to think that the trade deadline coming up here in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, the All-Star game played late this year, and all of a sudden you turn around and that trade deadline's right on top of you.
Interesting to see which teams believe that they are still in it. And of course, with the wild card scenario and being 2 wild cards coming out of each league, there's a lot more teams who believe they're in it. The 1-2. Ichiro protecting the plate, fouls it off to the left. Center fielder Jacoby Ellsbury a step 2 towards the left center. Lots of grass out there in right center field for Ichiro as Brett Gardner gains his lead at first base. They'll bounce in, nicely blocked by Saltalamacchia, able to keep it in front of him.
Yeah, nice job by Saltalamacchia. A change at that time that bounced well in front of home plate, but Saltalamacchia goes down. Blocks the ball perfectly, just kind of deadens the ball off his chest, and Gardner has to stay at first base.
Serves it out into shallow left. Snyder going back. Iglesias, and it's Snyder lays it out to make the catch. Fires it back towards second base from his backside. Nice catch by Brandon Snyder, fully extended. 1 down.
Yeah, that looked like trouble. Looked like it was going to drop between 3 guys, Snyder, Iglesias, and Gomes. But Snyder's able to make the play. He gets a pretty decent jump on it. Never takes his eye off the baseball, the catch, and the control as he hits the ground. You see Johnny Gomes looking in, hoping one of his infielders can make the play because he knows he can't get there.
So 1 down here in the 4th inning. Nicely done by Brandon Snyder. Gardner at first base, and Robinson Cano coming up. He struck out swinging in the 1st inning. Cano, the only Yankee in the order hitting up over 300 in this current lineup. We'll foul the first pitch back for strike 1. Yankees as a team hit at 243. Only the Houston Astros with a lower batting average in the American League. The Astros hit at 235 as a team, and the Yankees at 243. Conversely, the Red Sox hit at 277 on the season. Only the Tigers have a higher batting average than the Red Sox. That's ball 1, 1-1. Reaching the 20 home run plateau for the 5th straight season. Bringing a tie with Alfonso Soriano, Brett Boone, and Lou Whitaker, each who had had 4. The second most such seasons ever for an AL second baseman. Now they got Gardner picked off. They can get it there in a hurry, and they can't. Ends up stealing it anyway. So thrown over was Dubron, but Gardner with such good speed just kept going, and he steals second base.
Well, we're talking about Pettit. I mean, here is Gardner doing the same thing. 3 runs is not going to stop him from trying to run, and it's the first move that he goes on. As soon as he sees any action with the leg from Dubron, he just takes off, and Napoli coming off the bag had to play the ball to the side, then release it to second base, not in time to get Gardner.
First Yankee to reach second base in this game. With 1 out of the inning, here's a 1-1. Now Gardner's going to try to steal third, and a bad throw up the line into left field will send Gardner home, and the Yankees will get their first run of the night. So it is speed that does the Red Sox in here as Gardner tries to steal third. He does. An error on the throw from Saltalamacchia will score Gardner, and they've got a run without a benefit of a hit tonight.
Yeah, a walk, a stolen base, and an error on Saltalamacchia. You see Saltalamacchia, it's almost like he just over-gripped that baseball and threw it well to the right of Snyder at third base, down that left field line, and in comes Gardner.
So base is empty now with 1 out. Here's a 2-1 as Cano fouls it off. Well, leadoff walk costly here in the inning for Dubron as it turns into a run.
And to sum that up, that was all pretty ugly for the Red Sox right there.
Frame would call the ball. 3-2. Cano with another foul fly off to the left, out of play. It's 50 pitches now for Felix Dubron through 3 1/3 innings.
Looks like he's in disbelief that he made the catch. But now this is a guy who's never been in the end zone before.
Now he's flexing. That's right. Wow. 3-2 is on the ground foul outside of first. So we've seen 2 ways to catch a foul ball tonight.
Yeah, I like the first way better. Yes. I mean, that's old school.
Right.
The second way is too much activity in the end zone.
A little bit over the top.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Or as you would say, maybe too much acting, which I've been accused of on occasion by you.
No, you are definitely an overactor. There's no question about that.
3-2 pitch to Robinson Cano from Felix Dubron. Is going to miss for ball 4. That's the second walk of the inning given up by Dubron, 3rd of his outing. Now we head back to the West Coast again in August, and we have 2 lucky winners who have a chance to join us in either San Francisco or Los Angeles for that trip in the NESN West Coast Road Trip Sweepstakes. Both trips include round-trip airfare from Boston and accommodations for 2 nights. Winners will also have the chance to meet us at the ballpark. Go to NESN.com/roadtrip for your chance to win. 1 out here in the 4th inning. Robinson Cano at first base, and Vernon Wells the batter. Walked in the 2nd inning, 1 of 3 walks given up by Felix Dubron. Swing and a miss. High fastball from Dubron.
Now Vernon Wells has been chasing that high fastball in his first couple of at-bats from Dubron till he eventually got him on a changeup to strike out back in the 1st inning.
Wells last year hitting at .230 in 77 games with the Angels. Missed more than 2 months of the year in the disabled list. Tore a ligament in his right thumb. Missed a total of 55 team games. And then, of course, the Yankees able to pick him up for cash considerations. It was at the end of March and has been a big part of the Yankees season this year. He's batting 4th in their order as he takes ball 2. Walked in the second inning. One of 3 walks given up tonight by Gibran. Two one fouled back. 2-2. Wells, who was in Toronto north of the border from 1999 through 2010, a former first-round draft choice by the Blue Jays. 2 years with the Angels, and this year's first year with the Yankees. Swing and a miss. We're talking about that high fastball, and I couldn't stay off it. The Red Sox remember. And Gibran goes up there to pick up his 3rd strikeout.
Yeah, that one, the highest that he has chased so far tonight. And you can see how upset Vernon Wells is with himself. He knows. I mean, that ball's shoulder high.
Two down in the 4th inning. Here is Almonte, who bounced into a 6-4-3 double play in the 2nd inning. He'll take strike 1. First year in the big leagues for Almonte, signed by the Yankees as a non-drafted free agent. And is just 24 years of age, from Santo Domingo of the Dominican Republic. On the corner for strike 2. Almonte didn't like it.
Well, just barely picking up the outside corner according to the Amica pit zone.
Zoilo Almonte last year spending the year with the Double-A Trenton Yankees, hitting at .277. Late swing and a foul ball into the seats. This year in 68 games with Scranton, he was hitting at .297. Called up on June 19th. With all the injuries the Yankees have had to endure, they have gotten deep into their depth in the organization. 0-2 pitch. Now Monte grounds it left side. Snyder will cut it off. He'll go to second for the force out that ends the inning. Yankees pick up a run. We're through 3.5. It's 3-1 Red Sox. Eastern Bank. Put your family first, job first, even your team first. Isn't it time someone put you first? Eastern Bank does just that with products like Eastern Free Checking. Here, your first, Eastern Bank. We head into the last half of the fourth inning. It's 3-1. Red Sox have the lead as David Ortiz leads it off for the Red Sox. And we welcome Jack Roush, founder and CEO of Roush Fenway Racing. Great to see you. How are you, Jack?
Glad to be here, Rick. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Well, it's great to have you here with us. And what's going on with Roush Fenway Racing right now?
Well, we're third in points right now with Carl Edwards, eighth with Greg Biffle, and 21st with our rookie Ricky Stenhouse, Jr.
This one is off the wall to left field and played quickly by Almonte, but it's a double for David Ortiz to begin the inning. A wall scraper in left. It almost got out of here.
Yeah, Ortiz taking that ball to the opposite field and showing his opposite field power on the breaking ball right there from Andy Pettit. And Ortiz looked like that swing was designed to go to the opposite field the whole way as he finds the 10 out on that left field wall. Right off the scoreboard area. So Ortiz in the second base with a leadoff double.
Jack, you mentioned Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Tell us about his development during his first season of Cup racing.
Well, he's doing very well. We'd hope naturally that he'd be a little better in points than he is, but he had some things he had to learn. He was gotten very much acquainted with the Nationwide cars, which are momentum cars. They have about 250 horsepower less than the Cup cars, so he's got to use his brakes more and not to use as much throttle in the corner. And so he's had a little trouble with that, but he's going to be as good in this business as anybody has been. We're really excited about his prospects. Look forward to going back to the second time this year at the same racetracks.
1-1 the count here to Mike Napoli with David Ortiz at second base. Are you happy with the result of last weekend's Miracle Mile in Loudon, New Hampshire?
Well, I am happy with the way we tested well there, and where our race setups were better. We didn't qualify well, and that gave us trouble in the race because you have so much trouble passing. But Carl finished 8th, and that gave us hope. We had Ricky coming from the back. He got wrecked with Danica ran into him. Danica Patrick actually took him out, and Greg Biffle had a race that was so-so. But we weren't really a factor in being able to win the race, but we look forward to coming back in the fall.
Here are the Sprint Cup current standings. We were talking about Carl Edwards, who we've had on a few times here during Red Sox games. Seems like a terrific guy.
Carl is a great guy, and of course Greg is a great guy, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is just a delight.
Well, runner at second base here with nobody out, visiting with Jack Roush, as here's a 1-2, and Napoli will take it outside.
Jack, you like to get in those cars and kind of drive them yourself every now and then?
You know, I've got too much respect for the people who work on the cars and design the cars and build the cars to ever drive them. I've never driven any of my NASCAR cars. I used to drive my drag race cars when I drag raced for about 10 years back in the 60s and the 70s. But I never have driven the oval track cars. But I do fly airplanes with some success, some days, but not less others.
2-2 the count here to Mike Napoli. And that's going to miss inside. I want to ask you about your impressions of the rookie season of Travis Pastrana, who's been an interesting story.
Yeah, Travis has been really successful at everything he's done. He hasn't been in structured competition with the level of competitiveness among his competitors that he has here. But Travis has made a commitment to see what he can do in stock car racing. Red Bull is with him as a sponsor, and he has a number of other endorsement sponsors that are helping. But Travis is going to be excellent. He's one of the most talented drivers, competitors I've ever seen.
Well, a lot of people in Red Sox Nation get to Loudon every year. How tough is that track in Loudon?
Well, it's one of the toughest short tracks we go to. It's just over a mile long, and it doesn't have much banking, so you have to really slow the car down and have a focus on being able to make a turn in the middle so that you can get on the gas hard coming off the corner. And it is a challenge. It's one of the places that we've had some success at, but not as much as we have at most tracks.
One down here in the inning as Napoli strikes out. David Ortiz still at second base, and Johnny Gomes coming up. This is the final off weekend for the Sprint Cup Series for the rest of the season, right?
Yeah, it's a final off weekend. We go from now to November, the weekend before Thanksgiving, without a break, and it's going to be really tough. Our whole year has been structured from a testing point of view and a hardware preparation point of view to find out what we need to do to be able to race for a championship. And that's going to come to fruition in the races that remain between the first 26 that make up the preseason and then the championship run for the last 10.
Well, the next race is the Brickyard 400 in Indy, which is next Sunday. Is that a tough one?
It is a tough one. It's a very prestigious race. Of course, when I was a youngster in southern Ohio, just east of Cincinnati, not so far from Indy, it was the only race that I ever heard of. I heard about the Indianapolis 500 before I knew about stock car racing. But it's very prestigious. It's one of the tracks we've not won at, and I think we're going to be in great shape for it. We had a great test there.
The count is 0-2 here to Johnny Gomes with one out, a runner at second, visiting with Jack Roush. He's won 31 championships in more than 400 races in drag racing, sports car, and stock car racing. 7 championships in NASCAR's top 3 divisions. As the pitch will miss. And what's it been like, the partnership between Fenway and, of course, Roush Racing?
Well, you know, one of the inducements, one of the advantages we saw in making the relationship with the Fenway Group was bringing these 12, 14 million avid Red Sox Nation fans to stock car racing with more attention than they'd given it in the past. And, you know, there is regardless of where I go around the country, I wear my straw hat most of the time. If I see somebody with a Red Sox ball cap on or a piece of T-shirt or other memorabilia, you know, they'll recognize me and say, hey, how's Greg doing? How's Carl doing? How's Ricky doing? And when are you going to come up to the ballpark again?
Well, we appreciate you coming to the ballpark. It's great to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, appreciate it, pal.
All right.
Thank you.
Jack Roush joining us here in the booth at Fenway Park. It is a 3-1 Red Sox lead. Johnny Gomes batting with a count of 1-2. One out here in the 4th inning. Gomes with a 2-run home run in the 2nd inning, his 7th home run of the year. As Saltalamacchia waits on deck. Down and in, 2-2. Ortiz doubling to begin the inning. Napoli struck out. 1 out and a runner at second. Pettit about to throw his 70th pitch of his outing. That's in 3 1/3 innings. And Pettit's had a few of these full counts. 3-2 again. Battle tonight for Pettit on a hot night. Hanging in here. Has given up 3 runs in the first 2 innings, but has settled down since. Trying to work his way around a leadoff double. That is strike 3. Johnny Gomes thought he had ball 4, but instead gets the bad news. Back-to-back Ks for Andy Pettit. 2 down in the inning.
I think Johnny Gomes might have been surprised at the pick selection. He took a fastball that's pretty much right down the middle of the plate right there, and Johnny just makes his way to the Red Sox dugout. He knew it. Amica Insurance is the proud sponsor of the Amica Pit Zone.
On a strike to Saltalamacchia. Salty asks for time and backs out. Ortiz doubled to begin the inning. Napoli strikes out. Gomes strikes out. And now Saltalamacchia waiting on a 1-1. It's jammed and pops it up. Headed off the hill. Will make the catch. It ends the inning. Works around a double by David Ortiz. It's 3-1 Red Sox. To the top of the fifth. Want to remind you to vote for the Amica Pitcher of the Week at NESN.com/Amica. Enter to win a $100 gift card from NESN to the Akiway team store. Now Felix Dubron pitching with a 3-1 lead into the fifth inning. Lyle Overbay, Brent Lillibridge, and Eduardo Nunez. A warm night here tonight at Fenway Park for game one of the series. 96 degrees to begin the ball game tonight. Overbay bounced out to second base in the second inning. Pitch outside for ball one. Well, Overbay has had a nice season for the Yankees, of course, with the Red Sox for the bulk of spring training. Released by the Red Sox, picked up by the Yankees, and it's a good thing for New York they did. 11 homers. 42 runs batted in, and he drives this one out towards the deep left center field. Ellsbury back at the wall, and it's off the wall. Jacoby plays the Karen barehanded, but Overbay into second base with a stand-up double to start the fifth inning. It's time for Fenway Fan Story and Jenny Dell.
Well, I'm in some pretty special seats right here, and we got Stephanie with us. Stephanie, share us the story of how you got these seats.
Actually, 8 years ago, my husband was put on the waiting list for season tickets. Unfortunately, 4 years ago, my husband passed away. So I happened to keep the email, and I happened to keep the wallet that had the Post-it with the account number in it. So this year, when my number was called, I couldn't help but buy them. I mean, great seats.
You have your sister-in-law right here, Megan. Megan, you actually wrote into NESN.com/stories and let us know the story about your sister. And why did you feel the need to write in?
Well, it started with my mom, actually. STEWART is the biggest Red Sox fan you will ever meet. And in fact, I think that there's a little Boston B on our red blood cells because it runs deep. And she was the one who encouraged me to write the letter, and I didn't hesitate because Ron would love this. He would love to eat a Fenway Frank with Don and Jerry, and you know, he definitely would have encouraged me to write in and tell his story because he was such a Red Sox fan, and he would have loved to sit in these seats.
And Stephanie, for you, what is it like being here at this game in these seats, thinking of your late husband?
it's just amazing because, you know, I know he would want to be here, and I know he's here in spirit with us.
Well, we're so happy that you're here with us, and Jerry actually bought you guys some hot dogs. So thank you for being our fans of the game. And for fans at home, if you have a unique reason of why you're coming to Fenway Park, write into NESN.com/stories. Let us know why, and I may interview you in a future home game.
All right, Jenny, thanks very much. Nice story here from Fenway Fan Stories. And again, you can have yours told here at Fenway Park. Well, Lyle Overbay's doubled the first hit of the game for the New York Yankees. It comes to begin the 5th inning, as DeBron had allowed a couple of walks and a run, but had not given up a base hit. He does here to begin the 5th. Now a 1-2 pitch to Brent Lillibridge, and that is inside for ball 2, 2-2.
That's one of those nights you would expect the ball to travel very well, very hot, very humid, and that wind blowing out toward the left field wall. And Overbay taking advantage of that as he takes that fastball from DeBron off the wall, high off the wall, for the leadoff double here in the 5th inning.
Lillibridge strikes out. A timely strikeout for DeBron after the leadoff double. That's his 4th strikeout. Second time Lillibridge is down by way of the K.
And both times on the fastball. And DeBron's were pretty consistent tonight with that fastball at about 91 miles an hour. So no advance for Overbay at second base. Now 1 out in the inning.
Outfield straight away as Eduardo Nunez stands in. He popped out to Mike Napoli in the 3rd inning. He's 0 for 1. As he'll take strike 1. th pitch of the night for DeBron, with 1 out here in the 5th. And a foul off to the right, 0-2. Tampa Bay beginning the night 2.5 games back of the Red Sox in the American League East. And the Rays are trailing the Blue Jays tonight north of the border. They're in the 5th inning. Jays have a 4-2 lead over the Rays. And of course, Tampa Bay will be coming here as part of this homestand against the Red Sox for 4 games beginning on Monday.
Yeah, 4-game series here against the Red Sox. They are 9-1 in their last 10 games, Tampa Bay, but as you mentioned, Don, trailing tonight by a couple of runs.
Outside, 2-2 down to Nunez. Nunez now, Chris Stewart next. Yankees batting here in the top of the 5th inning. Line foul down the right field line into the grandstand area.
And Nunez fouling off a pretty tough pitch. A ball away from him. A fastball away from DeBron. That one at 92 miles an hour, and Nunez fouling it off. Too close to take. Probably would have been strike 3 on the corner.
Nunez on a breaking ball, grounds it to third. It changed direction, but Snyder picks it nicely and throws to first to retire Nunez for the 2nd out of the inning. Well, fans, help support the fight against hunger in the 22nd annual Red Sox Wives Funds for Food. It'll begin the drive to benefit the Greater Boston Food Bank on July 24th and 25th. You can donate $10 cash. In exchange, receive an autographed photo of the current Red Sox player. Each $10 donation helps the Greater Boston Food Bank provide 30 meals to those in need. And you don't need a ticket to help out. Collections take place outside the gates of Fenway from 5:40 p.m. through the end of the second inning. Learn more at www.gbfb.org/Sox. A double to begin things in the fifth for Overbay, but since then Lillibridge a strikeout, Nunez a ground out, and here's Chris Stewart. Swing and a miss for strike one.
Well, the rest of the weekend will be on national TV. Fox tomorrow, 4 o'clock start here from Fenway Park, and then ESPN on Sunday night. Had a chance to see Tim McCarver, who will be doing the ball game yesterday in the Red Sox clubhouse today, and of course Tim wrapping it up after this season. Yeah. What a great career he's had. How many World Series and All-Star games has he done?
Unbelievable amount. It's great to see him, and did a great job at the All-Star game as always, and wish Tim the best. And he'll be in here tomorrow. I think Kenny Albert is in for Fox also here tomorrow. And then our friends from ESPN on Sunday night. As a fly ball struck well to deep left field. Gomes going back onto the track. It's going to land and one hop the wall. Around from second base comes Overbay. He'll score. Into second base with an RBI double goes Chris Stewart, and the Yankees inch closer. It's now a one-run game.
Well, 2 doubles in this inning. Overbay to start it off the wall. This one's going to find its way between Johnny Gomes and Jacoby Ellsbury. Hit right at the base of the wall. And what looked like might be a rout for the Red Sox in the first couple of innings has turned into a run-run ball game. Andy Pettitte has settled down and pitching very well right now, and Dubron has given up runs in the last couple of innings.
So it's a number 9 man, Chris Stewart, who drives in the run and is now at second base with 2 outs for Brett Gardner. Gardner grounded out to third base in the first inning, walked and scored in the fourth inning without the benefit of a base hit. Walked, stole second, stole third, and scored on a throwing error from Jared Saltalamacchia. Got the Yankees on the board. Swings at the 1-0 and fouls it back. Yankees began the second half of the year playing the first 15 of 18 away from Yankee Stadium. And on the road. They played 30 at home, 37 on the road the rest of the way. There were 2 games over 500 away from Yankee Stadium in the first half, 23 and 21. Pitch 80 for Felix Dubron. And that's strike 2, 2-2. Generous call, it appeared, from Everett. Dubron will take it, 2-2.
Yeah, Gardner didn't like that call at all. He thought the ball was away, and it looked like it might have been away. Puts him in a much more difficult situation. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
A 5 for ball 3, full count. Runner at second, 2 down. Payoff pitch to Brett Gardner. And Gardner takes strike 3. Delayed call. And he'll be tossed out of the game. Fired his helmet away in disgust and is ejected immediately by Mike Everett. It's a 3-2 Red Sox lead. In the bottom of the 5th inning, and ejected from this game is Brett Gardner.
Well, Gardner didn't like the call on the low fastball. Looked like a good pitch, and then the helmet goes right to home plate, and that's when he was ejected immediately by Everett, the home plate umpire. Girardi comes out, of course, to try to protect his player and argue his point, but that goes to no avail. Girardi himself did not get kicked out of the ball game.
Joe's out there a good long time in between innings, but not ejected from the game. So Gardner is out of this game. It looks like Ichiro has moved from right to center field here for the Yankees. So Andy Pettitte back on the mound, 71 pitches deep. First pitch is going to miss inside for ball 1. Snyder, Iglesias, and Ellsbury. As the pitch is going to miss, ball 2, 2-0. Snyder lines out to third. So the first out here of the 5th inning. That's Luis Cruz, who's now at third base.
Looks like Ichiro's moved to center field.
Ichiro is in center field. Littlebridge moving from third base to right field. And Luis Cruz now at third base, with Gardner ejected from this game. And there for strike 1 to Iglesias, who grounded out shortstop in the 2nd inning. Now the grass at first again is Overbay. As Pettitte came to a complete stop there. Now ready to work with an 0-1. Pettitte giving up the solo home run by Ellsbury in the 1st inning. 2-run shot by Gomes in the 2nd. He's given up 2 hits since then and has really calmed down. It's 1-1, grounded softly. Pettitte off the hill. He'll fire to first for the out. That gets Iglesias 2 down in the inning. Well, Safeco Insurance listeners, take a look at the road ahead for the Red Sox and their upcoming schedule. 3 tough series start against their second half. Starting off tonight with the Yankees, then 4 games with the Rays before heading to Baltimore for 3 games with the O's. Then it is home again for Seattle and Arizona coming in. And a big 4-game series against the Rays coming up. We're just 2.5 games back of the Red Sox to start tonight's action. The Orioles are 4.5 back of Boston. 2 outs here in the 5th. 5 in a row retired by Andy Pettitte. And here is Jacoby Ellsbury, who's 2 for 2 in the game. Fouls it off to the left, out of play. This lefty-lefty matchup has worked out for Ellsbury just fine. A home run in the 1st, a single in the 3rd. Now a ground ball and a couple of hops down to Overbay. He'll take it to the bag, and that'll end the inning. 6 in a row retired by Pettitte through 5. 3-2 Red Sox. Pretty moon tonight from Fenway Park, where the Red Sox have a 3-2 lead over the Yankees. This is tightened up a tad. The Red Sox had a 3-0 advantage, but now it is 3-2. Yankees securing single runs in the 4th and 5th, and Ichiro will lead it off here in the top half of the 6th inning. Ichiro 0 for 2. He grounded out to shortstop here in the 1st inning. Popped out to the 3rd baseman Brandon Snyder in the 4th inning. And is now shifted from right field to center field in this game. That's a high fly ball to right field. This will send Nava back. He'll have room. And it carries almost to the warning track for the first out of the inning.
I was watching Ichiro take batting practice this afternoon while the Yankees were hitting, and hit about 5 out in the bullpen area for home runs, but obviously Ichiro does his damage in other ways. That ball hit pretty well, but Nava able to make the play on it with plenty of room before heading to the warning track.
One down here in the 6th inning, and it brings up Robinson Cano. Cano struck out in the 1st inning, walked in the 4th inning. Getting his 3rd look tonight at Felix Dubron. And a broken bat liner to right, but it is right at Nava. 2 down. He's been busy here in the 6th inning. We'll get set for every Red Sox game on NESN with Red Sox Game Day Live, presented by DCU. NESN's pregame coverage of the Sox begins an hour before every game. DCU, Digital Federal Credit Union, banking the DCU way.
Well, we just learned that Shane Victorino left the game as expected with some left hamstring tightness, which has been an ongoing problem for him.
I hope that the 4 days off of the All-Star break would do him some good, but grabs him again here in game 1 back after the break. Two outs in the 6th inning. Vernon Wells waits on a 1-0 and hits it on the ground, well placed up the middle and into left center field. And Iglesias swung over towards 3rd base, and Wells was seeing eyes single there with 2 outs in the 6th inning.
We talked about that kind of mini shift they have on Vernon Wells early in the ball game, where they really pinch him to that left side, and that time he does find the middle of the diamond for the ground ball base hit. Keeps Dubron away from the 1-2-3 inning. When it's hot, humid like tonight, you want to get off the field as quickly as possible.
There's Luis Cruz batting for the first time. He took over at 3rd base as the Yankees made some changes with Brett Gardner ejected from the game, and as it turns out, Zoilo Almonte is left with some sort of ailment as well. So Alberto Gonzalez now be in left field, but here is Luis Cruz in his first at bat of the night. That's in Almonte's spot, who had been 0 for 2.
Vernon Wells getting a look at first base. He's got 4 steals, but he's been thrown out 3 times.
Cruz made his Yankee debut on the 3rd of July at Minnesota. 45 games with the Dodgers this season. He was hitting at 127. The LA Dodgers. Parts of 5 major league seasons. Played for Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, and the Dodgers prior to New York. And he'll foul this one off of Saltalamacchia.
See where this ball gets Saltalamacchia, right off that left shoulder. Right where there's no padding.
Here's a pop-up. Saltalamacchia down the line and foul ground will make the catch. 5.5 done from Fenway. It's 3-2 Red Sox. Children's Organization. Tonight we welcome the Fall River Housing Authority from Fall River, Mass. to historic Fenway Park. Dunkin' Donuts committed to the community.
$500 turkeys last year gave away in the Fall River area to the Housing Authority. Also gave 500 away here in Boston for those who are not fortunate enough to have a turkey for Thanksgiving.
Well, 3-2 here. Red Sox in a one-run game in the last of the sixth inning. This is the first at bat of the night for Daniel Nava. Yes, he'll take a pitch inside for ball one.
You know, Don, next time we do an interview, I'd appreciate it if you let me ask a question.
You could have asked a question anytime.
I think I asked one.
In fact, I was looking for you to ask more. I kept looking in your direction. This is on the ground to first base. Overbay will take it himself, and Nava is retired for the first out of the sixth inning. Well, it's time now for a Toyota game break. Here's Tom Caron. All right, Tom, thanks very much. Again, we'll be seeing those Rays for 4 games beginning on Monday night here at Fenway Park. Andy Pettitte has got himself into a very good groove right now as he has retired the last 7 Red Sox in a row. And 10 of the last 11 as he deals with Dustin Pedroia now with 1 out. As Pedroia takes strike 1.
Now, there have only been 7 total hits in this game, 4 by the Red Sox, 3 by the Yankees.
Red Sox with action as Shinichi Tozawa starts warming for Dubron. 91 pitches to the first 6 innings of this game. Framed on the outside corner by Stewart, but it is just away. Pedroia is lined out to third, fouled out to first in 2 previous at bats against Pettitte. And it is lined into left center field. A base hit for Pedroia. 1 out single and a wide turn for Pedroia, but he'll scamper back to the bag at first. His first hit of the night.
Yeah, Dustin enjoys every hit that he gets off Andy Pettitte because he hasn't had that many off him. Only 214 coming into the game off Pettitte. There he gets that cut fastball, and it stays up in the zone, and Pedroia able to line it to left field for the base hit. So you actually stole one of my questions. My favorite question when we were talking to race car people is, you know, how is Loudon? Is it a tough track?
Oh, I took that
because I've been up there. I know it is a tough track. It's, you know, only a little less than a little bigger than a mile. So, but you took it.
I took it.
You took it.
I didn't mean to take your questions. I didn't know you were going to ask that. I know you've been to Loudon before. You've actually ridden with Carl Edwards, as I recall.
Yes, that was a lot of fun.
So that's what I was kind of expecting because you actually have a background in this. But I got nothing. This is on the ground right side. Cano will go to second for 1 and no throw to first base as Ortiz will reach, but a force out at second base. So 2 down, and that'll bring up Mike Napoli.
And Ortiz not happy with himself at all after not having a very long at bat that time against Andy Pettitte. That fastball down in the zone. Now, a lot of times you can see David upset right on contact because that's the type of pitch, especially against lefties, that he has been taking to the opposite field and not trying to pull it. That time he tries to pull it. The result, the ground ball to second base.
He's at first with 2 down as Napoli is swinging a miss for strike 1. Napoli walked in the second inning, came around to score on the 2-run home run by Johnny Gomes. And Napoli struck out swinging in the 4th inning. On the ground towards short, Nunez will flip to second for the force out. that ends the inning. We are through 6 from Fenway. 3-2 Red Sox.
The Yankees, Dubront will take a look at 3 of his strikeouts in this ball game tonight. First of all, a high fastball to Burner Wells that he chases. Dubront with another fastball to Lillibridge for a swing and miss. And Brett Gardner right at the bottom of the strike zone. That pitch got Gardner thrown out of the game.
Felix Dubront, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, and earned run, 3 walks, 5 Ks. 91 pitches deep as he works here into the 7th inning. While Overbay leads it off. There's strike 1. Overbay has grounded out to second and doubled. He doubled in the 5th inning, then scored the Yankees' 2nd run. And a one-hopper that is knocked down by Pedroia, stays with it, throws on Overbay. Nice play by Pedroia.
That's amazing. Those quick hands, you know, Don, we always talk from the ground up for infielders, and there's a great example of it right here. Watch Pedroia down low and up quickly to knock that ball down, and he stays close enough to him where he has an opportunity to throw that ball to first base. That ball took a bad hop on him, but still, the hands are so quick, he was able to knock it down and grab the out.
So Dubront faces one batter here in the 7th inning, and that is going to be his night as he departs after 6 1/3 innings. Get a nice hand here, leaving with the lead. Red Sox on top 3-2. today, presented by People's United Bank. We'll have highlights from the British Open. Shalise Mansley-Young's top 3 concerns as the Pats head into training camp, and a look at the Bruins' upcoming season schedule. All comes your way with Adam Pellerin and Jameson Coyle following our Sox coverage. 3-2, Red Sox have the lead over the Yankees with 1 out here in the top half of the 7th inning. Brent Lillibridge is the batter. 0 for 2 night for the Yankees. Now right fielder who started the game at third base. He struck out in the 3rd inning and struck out in the 5th as he takes ball 1. This call to the bullpen is brought to you on NESN by New England Ford dealers. And Shinichi Tozawa into the game for Boston. His 44th appearance, 4-3 with a 3.02 earned run average. 41 2/3 innings, 47 strikeouts to only 5 walks.
I think the 4 days off, as we look at Dubron talking to Torey Lovullo in the Red Sox dugout. Nice job by Dubron, obviously, in this game. I think the 4 days off will help Tozawa. He was seen to be getting a little fatigued just before the All-Star break. Been a very busy man out of the Red Sox bullpen.
He's already set a single season career high in appearances with his 44th of the year. Most he'd ever pitched in was 37 games. Leads all American League relievers in the strikeout to walk ratio. Just 5 walks in 43 games. Now to his 44th of the year and behind 3-0. And Lillibridge will take a 4-pitch walk with 1 out here in the 7th as we send it down to Jenny Dell.
Don, we're into the bullpen here tonight. Quick update on Andrew Bailey. As you said, he's been placed on the DL. He had some severe damage in his right labrum and shoulder capsule. It happened on his second to last pitch in Oakland last Friday. And at this point, he has 2 options: rest and rehab or undergo season-ending shoulder surgery. Obviously, he's frustrated. He said at this point, he's just trying to gather as much information as possible. But he did admit at this point, there's only 100% way to fix this is actually going with the surgery. Don.
All right, Jenny, thanks very much. 1 out, 1 on. Eduardo Nunez will take ball 1. Nunez 0 for 2. He's popped out to first, grounded out to third. That's his 3rd at bat of the night. DeBron ends up going 6 1/3 and a total of 3 hits for DeBron allowed. Charged with the 2 runs. He's a swing and a miss on the first strike for Tozawa since coming into this game. Breslow up in the pen behind Tozawa. Nunez will pop it up right side of the infield. Napoli underneath it will make the catch. A little late lunge there, but Mike secures it. 2 down.
Again, that ball got up high enough, where the wind could have a little bit of an effect on it. Again, that breeze blowing out pretty good towards center field and left field tonight. Napoli had to make a little bit of an adjustment, but is able to make the catch. Plus, he had Lillibridge right behind him.
Here's Chris Stewart, who drove in the second Yankees run with his 2-out double in the 5th inning. Picked up his 15th RBI of the year, now batting with a runner at first. And 2 down in the 7th, and that is in there for strike 1. Stewart had fly to right in his first at bat in the 3rd inning. First time Stewart has faced Tozawa in his career, and there's a strike. 0-2. Wally always seems to get good seats. In the dirt, 1-2. Red Sox had a 3-0 lead, but it is now 3-2 as the Yankees bat here in the top half of the 7th inning. A different looking Yankees lineup than we're used to here tonight. It's been the case for the Yankees all season. High for ball 2, 2-2. Outside for ball 3. Full count now. The runner at first. Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by Grinds Coffee Pouches, the healthy alternative to tobacco for professional baseball. For more information to get the product the Red Sox players use, visit getgrinds.com today. Two outs. Brent Littlebridge at first base. He'll be off on a 3-2 pitch. And Stewart sends one to right, but right at Nava. He'll make the catch. It ends the inning. 7th inning stretch. Johnny Gomes will lead it off. Red Sox on top 3-2. Anything else we need to know from the world of sports tonight following our Sox coverage as we play along to the bottom of the 7th inning on a hot night from Fenway Park. 3-2 Red Sox on top as Johnny Gomes will lead it off. He's trying to stay cool out in the bullpen.
Well, the good news for folks that don't like the heat, it's supposed to break sometime later tomorrow and be more comfortable humidity wise anyway at the beginning of next week.
There's Johnny Gomes to lead it off here in the home half of the 7th inning. He's already homered in this game, a 2-run home run in the 2nd inning, and he struck out looking in the 4th. 1 for 2. They'll send this one down the right field line, falling fast and falling fair. They'll jump up into the seats for a ground rule double for Johnny Gomes. His second extra base hit of the game.
It sounded and looked like Gomes got that around the label of the bat and just sliced it to right field. One hop into the stands for the ground rule double. Well, the Red Sox have the lead. The Red Sox do have the leadoff man at second base here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
No action in the Yankees pen for the first time tonight. Sean Kelly, a right-hander, is up. As Pettit nearing 100 in the game. He's pitched 94, and it's ball 1 to Jared Saltalamacchia. Struck out in the 2nd inning. Popped out in the 4th inning. Roll down the third baseline. Cruz on the run. Will get it there in time to get Saltalamacchia for the first out of the inning. No advance for Johnny Gomes, who remains at second base.
It's hard to tell at the beginning whether Cruz was going to let that ball go and maybe go foul, but it would have not if it was going to hit that bag. So he made the wise decision by picking it up and making that throw to first base to get the out. Out comes Girardi, and looked like Pettit was not too pleased about that, as he just give the ball and make his way up the mound. Great outing by Pettit.
Goes 6 1/3 and departs trailing in this game. Pitching change from Fenway. Run at Fenway Park, November the 16th. Toyota's official site for deals via Toyota.com. Vermont Cows, making you the best dairy. Learn more at VermontDairy.com. Dunkin' Donuts, your Northeast Mazda dealers, and by your Boston area McDonald's. In the midst of the last half of the 7th inning, 1 out. Red Sox on top of the Yankees 3-2. Johnny Gomes led off with a ground rule double. He's at second with 1 down, and here's a pinch hitter and Brock Holt to take strike 1. Eastern Mass Lexus dealers bring you the pitching line for Andy Pettit. 6 1/3, still responsible for Gomes at second base. So the line not complete on him yet. Walk and 4 Ks. One pitch will miss inside. Sean Kelly into his 35th game of the year, 3-0, 3.67 earned run average, 51 strikeouts to 13 walks, and batters hitting under 200 against Kelly. Last 25 games, he has held batters to a 143 average. He's acquired by the Yankees from Seattle in February. Fouled off to the left, 1-2.
A lot of sliders so far from Kelly since coming in this game against Brock Holt. Holt had a lot of base hits on that West Coast trip, especially to the opposite field.
He had started 9 straight games at third base since his July 6th recall and has an 8-game hitting streak. Coming into this pinch hitting performance here in the 7th inning. Holt grounds it back to Kelly. He'll look the runner back at second and flip to first for the second out of the inning. So Gomes unable to advance, 2 down.
Yeah, heads up too by Gomes, because a lot of times those balls will bounce over the head of the pitcher, and of course Gomes wants to get that jump so he can score. That time the ball is caught by Kelly, and you'll see Gomes take about 2 or 3 steps to his right and get back to that bag as Kelly checks him out. Now the Red Sox looking for a 2-out hit from Iglesias.
Yankees have more action in the pen. Boone Logan, left-hander up. There's Iglesias, who's 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice left side of the infield. Once to short, once to third. Well, that was against Andy Pettit. He's now started 46 of the last 50 Red Sox games since his May 24th recall from the Paw Sox. Overall, his second stint with Boston this season. On the corner for strike 1.
Gomes at second base trying to get as much as he possibly can, as much as that infield will give him. Lillibridge is very shallow out in right field against Iglesias. Ichiro's come in a couple of steps.
Ellsbury waiting on deck here. There are 2 outs in the 7th inning. In the dirt, gathered by Stewart to his right, 2-2. Iglesias fouling that off as he reached across the plate. We'll stay with Nesson after the game for WB Mason Extra Innings Live. Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley joins Tom Cairn to break down the highlights, while Jenny will take us into the clubhouse for player reaction. WB Mason Extra Innings Live. You can't go wrong when you buy right. WB Mason. 2 outs in the 7th. Red Sox trying to add on to their 1-run advantage. Iglesias fouls off another. That was a tough pitch, 94 and up.
Yeah, let's see now if Kelly goes back to the breaking ball away from Iglesias, trying to get him to chase it. A little conversation now between Stewart and Kelly. See how they want to approach Iglesias. The book has been, in these situations, try to throw him the breaking ball away, see if he'll chase it.
in the dirt, gets away, and Gomes will head to third base. So they stick with the fastball, and he bounces it by Stewart as Gomes advances to third.
Well, you're right. No breaking ball that time. Fastball away from Iglesias, and it gets by Stewart, the catcher. Well, tried to backhand that ball, then got him right in the chest. And by the time Gomes could pick it up, he had plenty of time to go to third base.
So the wild pitch gets him 90 feet away. And it is a full count now to Iglesias. Iglesias reaches out and puts it into right field for a base hit. Right in front of Lillibridge. That'll score Gomes, and the Red Sox take a 4-2 lead. They pick up an important insurance run driven in by Jose Iglesias.
There's that breaking ball. A breaking ball again that Iglesias is able to make contact on and put it into left field. That was a pitch a year ago that he just wouldn't make contact on. Now he's covering the plate. He's able to put the ball to the opposite field, drops it in front of Lillibridge, and the Red Sox take the 2-run lead.
So the Red Sox grab the insurance run, have a 4-2 lead. Pitching change from Fenway. To run your business, but WB Mason also carries the products you need to clean your business. WB Mason now delivers an all-star selection of janitorial supplies, delivering since 1898. Who but WB Mason? Still in the midst here of the 7th inning with 2 down. Jose Iglesias with an RBI single has given the Red Sox a 4-2 advantage. He's at first as Jacoby Ellsbury stands in.
And Iglesias got a huge lead. That's a one-way lead he had because he was about a third of the way to second base. One way back to the bag. Shortens it up a little bit this time.
There's ball 1 to Jacoby Ellsbury. It was 2 for 3 against Andy Pettit in tonight's game as Boone Logan checks in for his 39th game of the year. 2-2, the 2.16 earned run average. 25 innings, 35 strikeouts, only 5 walks. And opponents hitting at 250 against Logan. Inside again, 2-0.
Watching Iglesias again and again, a huge lead, but going back to the bag on that first move by Boone Logan.
Logan had a stretch at one point this year of 17 scoreless appearances. 2-0 is driven deep and far, but foul. Logan last year making a career high 80 appearances for the Yankees. 7-2 with a 3.74 earned run average last year. And one of just 4 Yankees pitchers and the first left-handed pitcher to appear in at least 80 games in a season. 2-1 pitch will have to wait. They check on Iglesias again at first. Preston Claiborne is warming in the Yankees pen. Pettit started this inning and is charged with his 4th run of the night. In 6 1/3 innings, he gave up 6 hits, walked a batter, and struck out 4. Ellsbury fouls it off to the left. I think he made contact with Stewart's glove on that. I'm not sure.
Well, Jacoby's shaking his head like maybe he did.
And he was pointed that direction.
That's about the 4th time this year we've seen that happen with Ellsbury.
Did he go? They'll check. No, he did not, says Dan Polito. Full count now. Good numbers for Ellsbury against this particular lefty, including the home run. Ellsbury fouls off another. Daniel Nava on deck, 2 down, to run in here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Tazawa got the final 2 outs of the 7th inning. Craig Breslow has been warming in the pen. Ellsbury will take the walk. Logan ends up losing it. A 2-out base on balls. Iglesias moves into scoring position.
I'll tell you, Jacoby's at bats tonight have been very, very good against left-handers. The 3 against Andy Pettit, that time drawing the walk from Boone Logan. He has looked very comfortable in there tonight against the lefties.
Now Daniel Nava, who came into the game for Shane Victorino, injured the hamstring, running out a ground ball at first base. Nava batted for the first time in the 6th inning, grounded out to first base. He'll take strike 1. Tampa Bay has now taken a 5-4 lead over the Blue Jays in the 8th inning. Outside 1-1. Fastball at 95, just off the outside edge. Iglesias at second base with Ellsbury at first base. 2 down in the inning. Nava fouls it off to the right, and it evens at 2-2. (18) career appearances for Boone Logan here at Fenway Park, and it has not gone well for him. A 6.52 earned run average here at Fenway Park. That has been a very good pitcher for the Yankees, but not so much here. (2-2) is chopped to third as Cruz will tag the bag. Force out ends the inning. Red Sox get a run and take a 4-2 lead at the end of 7. Plumbing, heating, and HVAC contractors throughout the Northeast. Visit FWM.com for more about this proud sponsor of the Boston Red Sox. 4-2. Red Sox have the lead as they had a run in the bottom of the 7th inning. And it's on to the 8th we go as Brock Holt stays in the game at third base after he pinch hit for Brandon Snyder. Now defensively for him at third. And the Red Sox will use their third arm of the night, Craig Breslow, into his 32nd game. 3-2 with a 2.81 earned run average. 19 strikeouts, 8 walks, and opponents hitting at 260. As he will face the top of the Yankees order. But it is not the guy who started there. Brett Gardner was ejected from the game after striking out in the 5th inning. Alberto Gonzalez leads it off now for the Yankees here in the 8th.
I was wondering whether they would send Tazawa out for one batter then make the switch against Suzuki, but no, Breslow's going to stop the inning. And, of course, as we know, the more we watch Breslow, he's just not a guy that comes in to face lefties. He faces both lefties and righties.
With the last game of the first half on Sunday, going an inning and 2/3 scoreless innings at Oakland. And Gonzalez all tied up.
That's what you call getting buried inside of a slider right there. Gonzalez with a very off-balance swing on that breaking ball. Almost fell down.
Now he'll pop it up. Napoli into foul ground. Here comes Pedroia. And it's Dustin's play as he makes the catch for the first out here in the 8th. The fans don't miss out on the action here at Fenway. So Red Sox take on the Rays in a 4-game series starting Monday. Tickets for these great matchups and other Sox games are available at redsox.com/tickets. You can also call 877-RED-SOX-9 or visit the Fenway Park ticket office for information on all upcoming Sox games. 1 out in the 8th inning, and that brings up Ichiro. Tampa Bay, incidentally, with a 5-4 lead last check. They're in the 8th in Toronto. Baltimore has a 3-1 lead over the Texas Rangers, and they're in the 5th in Arlington tonight. Ichiro lines it into left field, just over the outstretched glove of Jose Iglesias. Tried to time the leap, but Ichiro with a 1-out single, his first hit of the night.
Yeah, he had it timed perfectly, too. He really did. He just didn't have enough ups to be able to make a play on this line drive. Served into left field by Ichiro.
He has always hit Craig Breslow well. Ichiro at .429 against Breslow in his career. And aboard here with 1 out in the 8th. It was Robinson Cano, who struck out swinging, walked, and lined out to right. There's strike 1. Cano, on the other hand, has not had much success with Breslow. He is 2 for 14 against him in his career, coming in at 143. Slap foul off to the left, out of play. Breslow jumps ahead 0-2. Towards the gap in right center field. This is going to get down, but quickly cut off by Ellsbury. And that's quite a play as he gets it back in. It'll be a double for Cano. Represents a tying run into scoring position. But if Ellsbury doesn't get over there in a hurry, then you get at least 1 run out of that.
Yeah, but that's some pretty nice hitting right there by Robinson Cano. He's down to the left-hander, and he's still able to get this double. They wanted to go away with the breaking ball, but it stayed inside. And Cano finds that gap. You're right. Jacoby Ellsbury going over to cut that ball off. He does save a run. He saves Ichiro's run, but the potential tying run now at second base.
So second and third, 1 out, and Vernon Wells the batter. Red Sox had just taken a 2-run lead. Yankees trying to answer here in the top half of the 8th. Wells hits a little dribbler down the first baseline foul. Suzuki at third, Cano at second. 1 out here in the Yankees 8th inning. And a little blooper to short that Iglesias will reel in. 2 down. That's a big out.
For talking about Breslow being able to work to right-handers, that time he got in on Vernon Wells and induced that soft line drive to Iglesias.
So 2 out, second and third. Luis Cruz, who batted for the first time in the 6th inning, popped out to the catcher, Jared Saltalamacchia. And a ground ball to the deep short spot. And a long throw there is off the mark, but Napoli applies the tag. Iglesias with a tough throw, but Napoli helps him out and gets him out of the jam.
The beginning of this season, we asked fans at home their opinion of what they're looking forward to most in the second half. Here are some of the best tweets brought to you by AT&T. Let's see. Mitch says, looking forward to Buckles' return and for Lester to heat up again. Mike was excited to see Big Papi keep his essential offensive pace and watch Iglesias cap off a record season. And last but not least, looking at this tough AL East battle, they believe pitching and health will decide who will be on top. Don?
All right, Jay, thanks very much. As Dustin Pedroia leads it off here in the bottom of the 8th. Red Sox on top by 2. And Pedroia chops one to deep third base. It's a fair ball. Cruz with a long throw that is going to get there just in time. Nice pick on the other side by Overbay. And they just get Pedroia.
Now, Overbay is a very good first baseman. Very smooth down there, and he makes a nice play on this bounce. It was not a real difficult bounce at first base, but he certainly made it look easy. The long throw by Cruz at third. And there's the pick by Overbay to get Pedroia at first base. Looked like he was in control of that the whole way.
One out here in the 8th inning for David Ortiz. 1 for 3 in the game tonight. A strikeout back in the first inning, double in the 4th inning, and reached on a fielder's choice in the 6th inning. Now Preston Claiborne into the game here for the 8th. 26th appearance, 0-1 with a 2.43 earned run average. But it's hitting at 239 against him. A good strikeout to walk ratio. And Ortiz hits it out to center field. Back goes Ichiro at the wall. It's over his head. He'll play the care. Big Poppy headed for second base, and he'll get there with a slide. Second double of the night.
Now, the first double David got back in the fourth inning was on a breaking ball. This time it's a fastball, and he rattles it off that chain part of the center field wall. Ichiro played that very well, gets it back in, and Ortiz at second base in scoring position. David with little baby steps going into second before he went into the slide.
Well, now 24 doubles on the year. Two tonight. Stands at second with one out. Here's Mike Napoli. He has walked, struck out, grounded into a fielder's choice. There's strike one. Big swing for strike two. More action for the Yankees in the pen. Adam Warren, right-hander, up in the pen. Andy Pettitte started, went 6 1/3. Pitcher of record right now on the losing side as he is touched with 4 runs. 6 1/3, 6 hits, walked a batter and struck out 4. So Sean Kelly and Boone Logan, now Preston Claiborne. Well, the Red Sox closer and Koji Uehara warming in the pen. Overbay, Lillibridge, and Nunez expected in the 9th. Here's a 1-2. Fly ball down the right field line. Over goes Lillibridge, and he'll make the catch on the warning track as Ortiz tags up and takes third base with the second out of the inning.
Well, it looked like that ball was going to find its way around pesky pole, but Lillibridge is there pretty much to take it out of the first row of the seats. This ball kept twisting away, and it looked like for a moment it had a chance to be one of those rare right field home runs. But Lillibridge on the warning track, able to make the catch.
So 2 down, Ortiz at third base. And Johnny Gomes, the batter, he's had a good night with a 2-run home run in the second inning. Struck out looking in the 4th, and then double and scored in the 7th. Home run was the 7th of the year for Gomes. He'll take ball 1. Gomes will pop it up. Cano started back, now comes in and puts it away to end the 8th. We head for the 9th. 4-2 Red Sox on top. Koji will be in. Subaru of New England, Sullivan Tire and Auto Centers, and by your Boston area Mazda dealers. So we head to the ninth inning. 4-2. Red Sox have the lead over the Yankees. And into the game for the Red Sox, Koji Uehara, the Red Sox closer. Into his 45th appearance, 2-0. The 1.70 earned run average. 8 for 11 in save opportunities. 60 strikeouts to 8 walks. An opponent's hitting at 160 against Koji Uehara. And they're trying to wrap it up for the Red Sox tonight. As Felix Dubron started, went 6 1/3, gave up the 2 runs. Since then, Tazawa and Breslow before Uehara checks in for the ninth. Ball 1 to Lyle Overbay. He doubled in the 5th inning, 1 for 3 in the game tonight. Swing and a miss, 1-1.
There's that split-fingered fastball from Uehara pulling the string on Lyle Overbay.
The 1-1. Foul tipped at the dish, and it's 1-2. Uehara throwing a scoreless 9th and 10th innings in the final game of the first half. Keeping the score tied at the time, 2-2. The Oakland A's had a walk-off win as it turned out. Swing and a miss, and a good start to this 9th inning. Strikes out Overbay.
You know, we say it over and over again, Don, but those split-fingered fastballs make that fastball look harder than what it actually is. I mean, it only registers at 89, 90 miles an hour. 90 that time on the outside part of the plate. Amica Insurance is the proud sponsor of the Amica Pit Zone.
1 out for Brent Lillibridge, who has struck out twice and walked in the game. It's a little ground ball softly towards second. Pedroia gets it there. 2 down. This game summary is brought to you by Xfinity from Comcast. Andy Pettit down the pitcher of record on the losing side. 6 1/3 in this game. Felix Dubron 6 1/3. And a chance to pick up his 7th win of the year. Ellsbury got the game started with a solo home run. Johnny Gomes with a 2-run shot. 2 for 4 night. 2 outs in the 9th. Eduardo Nunez has popped out, grounded out, popped out again. Strike 1. On the ground right side, Pedroia gets up and throws him out. Red Sox win. A 1-2-3 9th inning for Uehara, saves it for the Red Sox as they take game 1 of the series. And this one 4-2 tonight from Fenway Park. Well, Bob's Discount Furniture is going to bat for the Jimmy Fund once again. Bob's will donate $1,000 to the Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon for every game saved this season. For quality, choice, and value, nobody beats Bob. Visit mybobs.com to learn more. Now the Red Sox able to take game 1 of the series 4-2 as we send it to Tom Caron.